Welcome to solving the mystery of Wet Dry World. This is Patrick L. Peck. I will be your host for the evening. So, as a 90s kid, I grew up with the classic late 90s video game Super Mario 64. A lot of things have been said about Mario 64 over the decades. Recently, there's been the whole Wario apparition thing and other things been said. Obviously, the Wario apparition was just a joke, a hoax, a created hoax just for fun. Now, a lot of things have been said already about Wet Dry World, and some of it has been over-exaggerated. But unlike the Wario apparition, of all the things made up to be creepy or to joke around about Mario 64, the only one that has real precedence, perhaps, is the level of Wet Dry World. You see, I believe that Super Mario 64 to be theory about how, and I don't know if it's true, maybe it is, maybe it's not. Maybe I'm crazy for saying this or thinking this. But are we getting smarter, conspiracy-wise, as we grow older in time? As we enter into the future more and more? Are we becoming wiser and smarter to the tricks that have been pulled over our eyes? Now, the video game Super Mario 64 is a Masonic game. It's possible that it could be the player or the user or the person, human being, getting a digital initiation into the world of Freemasonry. It makes you wonder when you notice all these religious symbolism and Freemasonic things within this video game. Is Mr. Miyamoto a Freemason? So we're really going to get into it. There's an excellent video that really went into all the great details of the stuff within the levels that Mario does and the symbology of Peach's castle looking and basically acting and being like a Freemasonic temple. There's an excellent video that shows all that, and I am going to post a link in my description of this video for all you guys to check that out. I do recommend watching that first and then watching this video, but you could easily watch this video first and then check that one out afterwards, because that's an excellent video. It's a perfect video. I'm more interested in the mystery of this level that I think I can give more insight into because I have more theories about it than anyone else on the internet. This whole mystery of this game began with basically people discovering that this is a Freemason kind of game, all the mysteries and everything. I believe maybe we're meant to discover these things about this game. It's all there for us to discover. The reason this game captivates us after 20 years is more than the fact that this is a great video game. It's more than that fact. I think certain things that come out that people create, there's the ones that truly captivate us and reach more and more of an audience, a wider audience. There's something deeper going on that taps into our subconscious. It ticks off. It's like hitting a light switch in your mind. Things that you naturally suspect about something. Doesn't necessarily mean that means these theories are true, but it does mean that perhaps it is tapping into something that's deeper than that we can't fully comprehend because we are human. And that the Freemasons and other occult secret societies know the secrets of how to unlock these secrets or these philosophies or these things, and they can't fully know it all either. But perhaps they've talked to extraterrestrial beings or beings from another realm that have given them this knowledge, this unearthly knowledge. So even though they're human beings creating things, perhaps that they have extra knowledge given to them from another source, that through rituals or whatever have you, they were able to somehow figure out how to tap into this other energy, other state of mind, other collective consciousness, other information about the secrets of our world that we have never explored or tapped into, and they have. So, we're going to get right into it. Stick with me, I promise it's worth it. But I will talk about a little bit of things I have noticed. Other things that go beyond Wet Dry World. But some of them are very closely connected to the level of Wet Dry World. The first thing I want to talk about is the cover of the game. Now, the world that you see on the box art for Super Mario 64. Okay, here's it more out in the open. So some people theorized about the paintings that Mario is not in fact jumping into different dimensions, that he is actually, the paintings travel him to different parts of the world. You actually notice that in the secret paintings you find in Super Mario Odyssey. For all you people who've played through that whole game. What you notice about the world here on the cover of the box of Super Mario 64 is that if you look at it, there are parts of the world that do look like they represent some of the levels in the game. You got the Arctic over there. That's the snow level. There's the mama penguin and the baby penguin. There you go. And then you got the other island over there with those prickly, spikely guys, and the bombs are in that level. That represents the ancient Egypt level in Mario 64 that you play in the basement. Mario traveled there through the paintings, to that painting. The same thing, he traveled to that snow level. And of course, at the top, you got Peach's Castle, the star, Boo's, right? You know. So, there you go. You got secrets in the image of the world. Now, one thing I want to say is that what is going on here exactly? This is Mario's world? I mean, I don't know. It's strange. It's interesting. The colors of Mario's outfit represent the red and blue lodges of Freemasonry. You can see it on his outfit, and you know, it's like his outfit is a combination of both. And also, conveniently, duality, because of his overalls. Duality plays a role in the occult, in witchcraft, in Freemasonry especially with the two pillars next to each other. You'll also find it in the tarot cards. Also, the gloves Mario wears, those white gloves, represent the white gloves they wear in Freemasonry. If you look at pictures of George Washington and other famous Freemasons, they always wear those white gloves. And that is why Bugs Bunny wears gloves, the Warner Brothers characters wear gloves, that's why Mickey Mouse wears gloves, because Walt Disney was a 33rd degree Freemason. And if you look this shit up about Warner Bros., they are also a company that was founded by Freemasons, Warner Brothers. So you got Disney that are run by Freemasons, you got Warner Brothers run by Freemasons, you got Nintendo secretly run by Freemasons, you got all these companies, these major corporations run by Freemasons. And they put their beliefs, their symbolism, their religion, their occult, satanic stuff into their games. Mario is basically secretly a Freemason in his adventures. It's occultic, it's weird, it's mysterious, it's like a big old puzzle piece. The M on Mario's hat, obviously it stands for Mario, but who knows? M, Mason, you know? And even if you look at Mario's entire look of the way he looks, how his mustache perfectly is exactly the same on both sides of his face. Again, convenient, yes, but it's like it's secretly trying to be convenient so that you can make an argument against it, and convenient so that it actually makes sense that it could also easily be duality symbolism. Everything about Mario, right straight down the middle. His mustache looks exactly the same. It's perfectly trimmed on both sides of his face. The overalls, the buttons, the gloves, all that kind of stuff. From the tarot cards and from Greek mythology, Mario's hat, his flying wing cap hat that he gets in Super Mario 64 is there on purpose. It is there to represent the god Hermes. Mario is acting as Hermes in this game. There's so much more meaning to that you could look into, and I haven't looked into that deeper, but I'm sure that there's a reason, more of a reason why that is, why there's such a connection between Mario and Hermes in Super Mario 64, but I haven't looked deeper into it. But that is definitely something you could say is totally like Hermes. The Rainbow Bridge is symbolism that you will find in the myths and legends of Norse mythology, and there's a level in Super Mario 64 later on when you get to the top floor where you ride on a magic carpet. You know, again, magic, the occult, mystery religions, all that kind of stuff coming from ancient Egypt. Mario travels on the rainbow, you know, rainbow, following the rainbow. It represents the Rainbow Bridge from Norse mythology. And of course, in that other image, you see the black and white checkered pattern flooring, which represents duality, light and dark combined, all that kind of stuff. Good and bad combined, all that kind of thing. Duality, etc., etc., etc. Also, you can see from the image that from the Norse mythology painting, the Rainbow Bridge leads to a castle. In that level in Super Mario 64, it's on the 3rd floor. If you stay on the magic carpet, it leads you to a giant castle that's floating in the clouds, and the rainbow enters into the castle. Also, if you notice that Norse mythology painting, the clouds surround the castle. It's like a mirror image taken from that. So Norse mythology is very occultic. I'm sure there's going to be lots of people that argue against that for this video. But it is very occultic, and birds of a feather flock together. So basically all these beliefs, from witchcraft to Norse mythology to Satanism to paganism to Mormonism, all of these religions are worshiping the devil. It's devil worship. And there's a little bit of gray area, just a little bit, but it still leads in that same direction of the devil. It still leads in that kind of direction. I don't think that's ignorant for me to say, just because I'm a born-again Christian. I think that there's enough things you can point out and notice that, you know, because of anime and other things these days, especially during the 2010s, Norse mythology gained a slower, slightly bigger following than it used to have. The same thing could be said for witchcraft, Harry Potter, promoting it, all that kind of stuff. Full Metal Alchemist, the anime, promotes alchemy. Alchemy comes from the beliefs of witchcraft, and it's similar. It's all the same stuff. It is because these companies that are run by these organizations, such as the OTO or the Freemasons, the Illuminati, it's all these are all terms. These are all beliefs that all follow the same shit. It's just like different pieces of the devil worship puzzle. That's all that these things are. When you go deep down into it, there really is not a big difference between Norse mythology and, say, the OTO. There's not a big difference between the Illuminati and, say, Freemasonry. It's all the same stuff. When you see the same kind of themes going on and all these things, they're all connected. It's all about worshiping the Baphomet, the devil, Lucifer, you know, the enemy of God, all that kind of stuff. Mario's been collecting coins since 1982, I believe, from Mario Bros. If you look at the old Mario coins, they're more rectangular. A perfect example, if you look at Mario 3, on the NES. But the first time the coins ever look different is in Mario 64. They are rounder and they got stars on them. They represent the pentacle or the pentagram. They look eerily similar to basically they look like coins in this famous tarot card here. And that's because they purposely changed the way they look in Mario 64 to make them look like pentacles. Possession, pentagram. Mario collects the coins. It's all occultic symbolism. It's all there, designed there, because these people who are Freemasons, they rule the world and they make all the mainstream media. And they want you to get into it. They want you to secretly, slowly become a Freemason. They want you to be digitally initiated to being a Freemason by playing Super Mario 64 and watching these movies, these anime, the books, Harry Potter, other cultic novels, manga. They want to indoctrinate you with their satanic occultic beliefs. Away from Christianity, away from Jesus Christ. Now, we all love entertainment, we all love Mario, we all love this game, Super Mario 64, but you can still love it as much as you want, but just don't be ignorant to what's being pulled over your eyes. That's my bottom line. Love it, but be wise. Don't just assume that none of it means anything and that we're reading too deep into 100% of it. That's a little much to say, you know. This is another door you find in the game. I believe it's in the level Hazy Maze Cave. I wonder if I got that right at all. But this is a level from Mario 64. These are the doors you come into when you're into that level. Now, that represents an eye, and it's shining. The same image you find on our dollar bill, the US dollar bill. Plus you got the stars underneath it, or the pentagrams. Mario's opening and entering and leaving doors. He's opening doors to the Luciferian mindset. These two images are probably the easiest, most perfect way you can possibly notice the similarities to Peach's Castle, to the Freemason temples that do exist still, because Freemasonry is very still much alive. Well, one thing I can say about Peach's Castle is that there's a lot of stairs. I mean, duh, that's in castles, right? But the red carpeting and, you know, the way it turns, especially when you walk up those stairs that leads to the 3rd floor, I believe. You know, I think they represent the stairs you find in Freemason temples, the black and white checkered flooring, the duality of the two pillars in between the stairs right here in Mario 64. You can see that. Those are two pillars. They try to disguise them by not making them look like pillars. They try to disguise it and camouflage it with the background. And it's very clever. It's like it's there, but they want to hide it so that not everyone sees that this is obvious what they are doing with this video game by digitally indoctrinating you, which is exactly what Freemason does. You'll notice the painting at the top of the staircase in the Freemason paint picture there. You see paintings on the walls in Peach's Castle everywhere. There are paintings that are in Freemason halls and temples all over the place, so there is another example, a perfect example of that. Also, you see Mario standing on the sundial on the bottom of the floor. Sun worship is also involved in Freemasonry. Now, I know I said the Freemasons worship the devil, and everyone knows that. Look up Albert Pike. He'll tell you all about that. That ultimately, Freemasonry is devil worship. However, when you first become a Freemason, when you first become initiated, the first thing they tell you they believe in is a sun worship. And as you get up the ranks to become a higher initiate and get higher in your degrees of becoming a Freemason, they slowly indoctrinate you into different beliefs. First it's sun worship, then it's this, then it's that, then it's this, then it's that. Then the highest people know it is ultimately the worship of the devil. But they have to slowly initiate you into that. Because if they told all the original initiates that, oh, we worship the devil and that's what we do, then no one would join. Nobody would join, or there'd be a very tiny amount of people that join. If you look at the world, there are more people that are Freemasons than there are people who claim to be Satanists. Because there's a lot of Freemasons that are not at the very tippy top or higher ranking Freemasons, and they don't know that ultimately that is what the Freemasons believe in and worship, is the devil. They don't know that. So you got old men who are Freemasons, who've been Freemasons for like frickin' 30 years, and they have no idea they're worshiping the devil, and that's what they're slowly doing, because they were never told that, or they never knew that, and they were never taught that, and so they become 5th, 7th degree Freemasons for like 30 years, or 12th degree Freemason for 30 years, and they never have no idea. But Freemason is designed to slowly trap good Christian people. It is there to slowly turn them to the demonic, to the realm of darkness, etc., etc., etc. Now, before we get into Wet Dry World, there's another thing I'd like to talk about. I put these two images together because it says a lot. Okay, so you got the classic Nintendo 64 logo. We all know that. We all love that. We all grew up with that, right? Yada, yada, yada. Okay. Very, very fucking nostalgic, right? Now, next to it, I put the logo for the OTO. The OTO is another organization that is exactly like Freemasonry. And look at the colors. The colors they used for the Nintendo 64 logo mirror, and they are exactly the same as the colors for the symbol, the logo for the OTO. You got the red's there, the blue is you know, it's a lighter blue on the OTO logo, you know, I'll give you that. But you still got the blue, still got the red, you got the yellow at the top, and you got the green. Definitely. Now, what about the white, you say? There's one color left, which is white on the symbol. Well, if you look at images of the Nintendo 64 label, of the logo, the way they used to present it in stores, and the way they used to present it in the marketing and magazines, traditionally, there was a white background behind the name of Nintendo 64 and the logo for the console. They always had that white background, traditionally. Sometimes you'd see black, but most of the time you'd see white. I know this. I'm a hardcore 90s kid, growing up with the N64. If all y'all remember that, it had the white background, and that's where you get the color white from, on the bottom of that. Now, that is a pentagram. But if you look up the satanic pentagram, it has the star facing down. And so that is a satanic pentagram. So the OTO, just like the Freemasons, worship the devil. So, I mean, you know, you just think about it. You can it's like origami. You can fold that star around, mishmash it around, and then make an N out of it. Out of paper or whatever. There you go, you got the N64 logo. So, you know, these are what these people worship and believe in. I mean, these are their religions. You know, it's like Nintendo secretly tries to be your friend, oh, buddy, you know, Mario, but, you know, we all love Nintendo, we love Mario, right? I love the N64, you know. This shit is great entertainment. But, you know, it's secretly occultic. there's some devil worship in this kind of stuff. It's secretly there. It's hidden. It's a mystery. And I'm here to help you see that mystery. Again, like I mentioned, don't stop loving it as just a form of entertainment. Don't lose track of Jesus Christ, of morality. Don't get suckered into these mystery religions. It's fascinating, but don't get suckered into everything. Now, what I want to say is that not everything that's occultic is pure evil, but it's like there's just too much corruption in the realm of the occult. There's too much corruption of the devil in it. So the devil always finds a way to creep his ugly head into everyone's fun with the occult. He's just like always there, lurking in the shadows, taking it over. So, you know, it's like you can't win. It's very hard. You know what I'm saying? The star statue in the courtyard behind Peach's castle represents the same pyramid statue that you see in Wet Dry World, and it's all there for you to see. The only thing that's missing in the statue in Wet Dry World is the star at the top. True, there's no wording on it. That's also missing. But the town, the underground city in Wet Dry World, it represents a miniature version of the courtyard and Peach's castle in that level, in that town. It's like that level secretly shows you insight as to what is really there. With these two images together, the statue and the fountain in the back of the courtyard, it looks like this statue that is found near the ancient pyramids of Giza in Egypt. This is a Freemason statue. You got the G in the middle. You got the two pillars with B and J on both sides, Jacob and Boaz. And you got the rock with some words on it, with a plaque. The plaque and the rock building up, you see that with the star statue in the back of Peach's castle. So, you know, you see the eye at the top of the pyramid. There's also a pyramid level in Mario 64. I think it's called Dry Land or something. It's in the basement of the castle. But the eye at the top of the pyramid on the Freemason statue located near Egypt, you can look up photographs of the statue also as well. The eye at the very top of it represents the star, because the reason why the star is at the top of the statue in Mario 64 is because Lucifer was the fallen angel, or aka the fallen star. The eye at the top of the pyramid represents the eye of Lucifer. So that's what you see here. Also, if you look at the floor, the brick floor pattern on the bottom of the Freemason statue in Egypt, the floor, the gray floor, doesn't that look like similar to the gray floor pattern you see that Mario's on? You know, it's the same shit. I mean, this statue in the courtyard, does it represent this exact statue of this Freemason statue? Is that what it really comes from? So like I said, here is Peach's castle. Right next to it, you got the mini castle from Wet Dry World. You see how that little castle in Wet Dry World It's Peach's Castle. It's a mini version of Peach's Castle. The entrance has the same shape. The octagon or whatever is the same shape. The orange bricks. I know they look more red in-game on Peach's Castle, but they're orangey, reddish, you know. You got the top. It doesn't look perfectly like Peach's Castle, but it's not supposed to be because it's a miniature version of Peach's Castle. It's a primitive miniature version of Peach's Castle. It's meant to represent Peach's Castle in that level. If you know, it's something no one else has ever noticed about Mario 64 other than me. And leave a comment below if you actually noticed that in Wet Dry World, that structure looks like Peach's Castle. I'm the first one on YouTube to make a video about that. Looking at the wallpaper of the level of Wet Dry World, we all know this, that the background is an altered photograph of Shabim, a town in Yemen. Now, it's underwater, you know, it's weird, it's creepy, you know. Is the level trying to show the future? That it's a warning of a flood that's going to happen, and it's going to begin here in Yemen, and then, you know, it's going to take over the whole world, and the flood's going to begin there, you know. What is the reason why they knew to pick Yemen as the city to be underwater? And I do have a little bit of theories, and here's some things I noticed. Tell me if you ever what you think of this. Here are more buildings of Yemen. You see the way they look, how they're brown. You got the little windows and everything. Don't they look similar to the castle buildings you see in other Mario games, like in Super Mario Bros? The structure, the top with the squares, doesn't it kind of look similar to that? You know, what are they trying to say? The Mario world is in Yemen? Or, you know, what other symbolism have we not noticed for decades going on here? Here we see in the level in Wet Dry World, the brown brick structure that Mario runs around on in that level. It matches the color pattern of the bricks of the castles from Super Mario Bros. Is that supposed to represent the floor pattern from Super Mario Bros? From the castles from Super Mario Bros? You see that they're very similar in the way they look. That you can see these brown bricks in other levels in the game in Mario 64, but they're more prominent here in this level. Doing some more observing and snooping around the symbolism of this game, has anyone ever noticed or ever even talked about the flags on top of Peach's Castle? Well, I'll be the first one to. Now, the way they are with the patterns, you know, you got the two white triangles and, you know, it's white and red and everything. I tried to look up flags that are similar to it in some kind of fashion. Well, this is the flag for Yemen. You see how it's white and red? Well, those are the colors of the flags of Peach's Castle. And since you see a miniature version of Peach's Castle in Wet Dry World, this is more of a connection of how the outside of Peach's Castle, so because the flags represent Yemen, does that mean Peach's Castle is in Yemen? So what about the black? Well, I don't know what to say about the black part of the flag, but the red and white are there. Another flag that actually looks more similar to the flags that are on Peach's Castle is the national flag of Bahrain. The 5 white triangles symbolize the 5 pillars of Islam. Now, if you take a look at Peach's Castle, you got the 4 spiked towers on all four corners of the castle. So that's 4 pillars, and if you look at the middle, the one in the middle, that's 5. So that's 5 pillars. So Islam, Yemen, more religious symbolism going on here. Stuff from the Bible, Islam. Peach's castle is from Islam. The devil versus God stuff going on here. I mean, if you just cut up an image of the national flag of Britain right here, it pretty much are pieces of this flag right here. The colors of the flags totally look like they completely represent the national flag of Britain. It's been discussed and talked about at great length how the level of Wet Dry World has a negative aura around it, and I never strongly felt that from playing that level, even now or as a kid. However, I do feel a little bit of negative energy from this level. It is pretty claustrophobic. I mean, even little parts of the level, you're stuck in these little parts. I mean, this image of the level right here, taken out, zoomed out of what it really is, it's a box. A small box. It's definitely the most claustrophobic feeling level in the entire game. So this level is very strange. I mean, all the Mario levels are strange, right? But this one is different in particular. It definitely, I do feel, has some kind of negative aura to it. But it's subtle. Very, very subtle. Very sneaky. Another thing that's been talked about a great many times is the background you can see in the level of Wet Dry World, or the white bricks together. The way how they're rock shaped and everything, they do kind of look like an image, a flat image of our brain. I do think, what if it's a social experiment Nintendo was trying to pull off, to try to see if they can make a level that gives off a negative aura to the player. The fact that the brain is on the walls and stuff like that, it's trying to tap into your brain, to tap into your mind, your negative emotions. Now, you can see this white brick structure in other levels in Mario 64, a few others, but it's shown off the most in Wet Dry World. Even the tiny floor pattern is also made up of, underneath Mario there in the image, it's also made of tiny images of the rocks as well. Taking a look at the names of the missions in this level, they sound eerily disturbing or creepy, like much more different than the other levels. The other levels' mission titles have a more corny or adventurous flow to their titles, but the ones in Wet Dry World sound, well, let's just go into them. Number 1, shocking arrow lifts with an exclamation point. This sounds to me like it's a bunch of people trapped in a building and they have to get to the top before the building floods. Number 2, top of the town. That one's not really much. I mean, at top of the town, like get to the top of the building. I don't know. Now, 3 and 4 are underlined because they're the biggest. Secrets in the shallows and sky. Secrets, so... I mean, it's saying that this level is a mystery. There are secrets in this level. It's like telling you straight up. Number 4, express elevator. Hurry up. Again, kind of similar to the first one. People trapped in an elevator, in an express elevator. It says express elevator. That is what we call elevators in the real world, right? Express elevator, hurry up. Like, oh my god, we're gonna die. Watch out, there's a flood going on, gonna happen here. Number 5, I don't think 5 means anything. And 6, quick race through downtown. Well, that one sounds terrifying. Subtly, quick race through downtown. It does sound different than Race Koopa the Quick, one of the mission titles from the first level. It does sound different than that. It sounds like you better move your ass, otherwise the water's gonna get you. Taking a look at the image of the painting of the level of Wet Dry World, you see this spider. You see these spiders within the level. Now, you'll notice in the gameplay footage, and also here in the painting, the spider looks sad. The eyes, he looks like he's sad. It's symbolic of the negative aura of the level. The spider is sad. You're gonna be sad. The level is sad. The level has a negative aura. It's strange looking at the eyes of that spider, the spiders you find in Wet Dry World. Take a look at their eyes. Play the level again. Look into their eyes. Up close. If you can, because they move around quite a bit. But there's moments where they slow down. You can really take a look at their eyes. If you turn your N64 on and play the level, take a look at the spider's eyes. How they look sad in that level. Trying to look up the occult meaning of spiders. I did come across this stuff from the Holy Bible. Now, the Holy Bible, it does have some hidden meaning in it. It's got some occult stuff in it, even though it is about the belief in Jesus Christ. It does have stuff in it that gives us some insight into the world of the occult. Proverbs chapter 30 and verse 28, which says, "The spider takes hold of her hands and is in kings' palaces." Palaces, well, or castles. Peach's Castle. Now this right here is from an occult website. This is not a quote from the Bible. But this person who was into the occult was stating her opinion of what the meaning of the spiders the Bible is saying. The spider indicates that you need to find ways of jumping over the walls and landing right into the palace. I know this sounds strange, but from occult terms, the spider can represent jumping into something. Jumping into something, like how Mario jumps into the level with the spider. You know? So you see the spiders of Wet Dry World have occult meaning to them. It's perfectly fitting that they are also in that level. A few other people on the internet have pointed this out before. But now we're going to look at the mansion or castle that you see in the Boo level in Mario 64. And we're going to compare it to also Peach's Castle. Now, some think that the mansion, Boo's mansion in Mario 64, looks similar to the console of the N64. You see how the two little yellow windows of the castle at the top, they represent the on and off switch and the reset button on the N64. You got the middle where the expansion pack goes. You got the part in the roof, the rectangle part of the roof at the very top represents the slot that you put the cartridge in. The fact that they're both, black and dark looking, it's symbolic of the N64 console. Some kind of symbolism about how you're truly in the game in a digital sense. Some hidden meaning there. Just as a bonus extra, I don't know about all you watching this video, but I actually kind of think this image right here of the castle from above actually kind of looks like Mario's face to me. You got the two windows which represent Mario's two eyes. You got Mario's big nose and then right in the middle. And the bottom, the way the two ramps lead up to the entrance of the castle, how they both look the same on both sides and they're both curved. That represents Mario's mustache. And then the rest of the castle at the top, that's Mario's hat. You got Mario's hat. The rectangle right in the middle of the castle represents the flat cap of Mario's hat. That's just what I see. I could be dead wrong on this one though. Peach's Castle from above. You got the four corners of the castle. I think it kind of looks like if the N64 was upside down, because underneath the N64 console, you got the mansion. The castle in the Boo level is representation of Peach's castle in a haunted realm, in a demonic realm, in maybe hell, where the dead go. I don't know. Now, I could be completely wrong about this one, but this is just something I've noticed. I've been noticing some similarities between Beauty and the Beast and Super Mario. Tell me if any of you ever thought of this. Leave comments below. You could say that Beast represents Bowser and that Belle represents Peach. You know, they both, Beast they got the horns. And you know, it's like Bowser is evil, right? The Beast, 666, the devil. Bowser represents the devil. But deep down, Beast actually has feelings for Belle, just like how deep down Bowser may or probably has real romantic feelings for Peach in the Super Mario games. Now, if you think about it, Beauty and the Beast, I believe, was released in 1994, and Super Mario 64 was released in 1996. Now, development for Mario 64 began in 1995, so it's right smack in the middle. So they could have easily taken inspiration or concepts or ideas from Beauty and the Beast and inserted them into Super Mario 64. Now, of course, Bowser's kidnapped Peach in the earlier Mario games, but I don't know. It was more defined and made more elaborate a little bit in the storyline of Mario 64 because they had all the stuff with the paintings and the castle and everything. Now, there's other similarities between Beauty and the Beast and Super Mario 64, and we're going to get into it. If you all remember the famous beginning of Beauty and the Beast, there's a lot of glass paintings. They look the same as the ones you'd find in churches, which at the beginning of Beauty and the Beast, they tell the story of the backstory of the film. And there's 4 famous paintings from the beginning of that movie that look similar to things that you see in Super Mario 64. So let's take a look. Well, right here is pretty obvious. You know, Peach represents Belle. You got the arrow shape. The glass painting of Peach outside of the castle is meant to mimic and represent. It's similar. It's very similar to the glass paintings that are in Beauty and the Beast. Now, in the image of Peach, it does look like she's holding a pink rose in her hand. But if you really look closer at Peach's image on Google images of that image of Peach, those are actually flowers all behind her, and she's not actually holding a flower. But it does kind of look like she is, and it's also, you know, violet colored, just like or red, just like the red rose you see that is famous from Beauty and the Beast. Also, in the bottom, you got the guy and the girl. Does he represent Mario? He's got a hat, the crown or whatever, Mario and Peach. You know, this is just another thing I noticed. Remember how we were talking about how Peach's castle from above looks like the N64 upside down? If you look at the structure of the castle, the painting of Peach, it looks like it could be where the logo for the N64 would be on the console if the N64 was made into a castle. And the 4 controller ports, I suppose they can represent the windows that are outside of Peach's castle. Looking at this here, comparing this image of the glass painting of the castle from Beauty and the Beast compared to Peach's castle. It's like they got the castle idea from Beauty and the Beast and they put it in Mario 64. Disney itself is a very occultic movie company. Like I mentioned earlier, Walt Disney was a 33rd degree Freemason. You see secret satanic stuff in Disney cartoons. Why can't you? Why wouldn't there be secret satanic stuff in the Mario games as well? I don't think anyone else has noticed this but me. But just observing one of the glass paintings from the Beauty and the Beast, doesn't it kind of look like Rosalina? The Mario character? Now, you know, you got the green robe, and they both have wands. You can see the wand on the glass painting in Beauty and the Beast as well. If you notice Rosalina in her images, she's always showing her one eye. Yeah, well, that's Illuminati for you, the one eye. And here you go. It's like, if I'm right about this, it's like they went right back to those ideas and imagery from Beauty and the Beast to create future Mario characters. Since they already thought of Beauty and the Beast when they were making Super Mario 64. And Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Galaxy are also both 3D Mario platformers. You'll also notice that Rosalina is wearing a little crown. So is the witch in the glass painting as well. They both have crowns. Both have blonde hair, long blonde hair. Now, I haven't seen Beauty and the Beast in a long time, so I forget what they say about this witch in the glass painting at the beginning of the film. But you know, it just makes you wonder, what kind of secret occultic meanings does this witch mean at the beginning of Beauty and the Beast? And then what secret occult meanings does that mean to Rosalina as well in the Mario games? You know? Very interesting. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at what I noticed in the Super Mario 64 Got Milk commercial from the 90s. Very famous commercial. I love this commercial. Back in the day, growing up, all of us saw this commercial. Got Milk was a big thing. Anyway, enough with the nostalgia. So, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to show you the commercial in full. It's very short. Then I'll take you what I noticed from the commercial. Now, one thing I'd like to point out is, you know, think about this commercial for Super Mario 64 where they're playing the game. Of all the levels they could choose for them to put in the commercial that they're playing, they choose Wet Dry World. So yes, Wet Dry World does have has significance, and it's like they were thinking of that as they were making the game, and that's why they put it in this commercial. So here's the commercial in full first.
Come on. Come on, Mario. Come on, Mario, jump! I give up.
Want to grow? The calcium in milk helps bones grow to their full potential.
So, you know, the kids are failing at the level, you know. But if you look at this image right here of the kids and how the kids get depressed, this commercial is showing that, yes, this level, Wet Dry World, it has a negative aura. The level itself, this commercial is showing you that this level, it gives a negative aura. Now you'll notice in the commercial when the kids leave, Mario looks around when he notices they're not there anymore, and he escapes the level. I mean, he escapes the game. He escapes the television set. I mean, just think about that for a second. So, Mario is traveling from dimension to dimension, something like that, using the paintings. So, what did Mario look at in the game to jump out of the game? There's just so much going on here. It's like, you know how people think we live in a matrix? Well, where is our escape? Where is our digital escape to leave the matrix? Mario was able to do it because he's a Freemason, because Neo in the Matrix was a Freemason, you know. The blue pill and the red pill. Mario's outfit is the blue pill and the red pill. Mario can do it all, man. Now, him escaping his reality, and he's so powerful, he's able to come right back to it after grabbing the milk. There's so much deepness there. I noticed on the floor, there's certain things you notice on his journey to the fridge. You see the puzzle pieces on the floor? What is that? Is that symbolic that this is all a big secret puzzle? Mario 64 is all a big secret puzzle. You gotta put all the pieces together to figure out the mystery. All hidden there, all very occultic, you know. As Mario escapes the television set, his journey to the fridge, this cute little dog sees him. Now, Sirius, the dog star. You'll see this in Illuminati symbolism. Look it up on Google Images for all the celebrities and images and all that kinds of things like that. The fact that one of the dog's eyes is black represents the one eye. One of his eyes, it represents the one eye. Just like the logo for the Sirius satellite radio represents the one eye, the dog star, the stars, the occult, astronomy, alchemy. So you got Mario leaving his dimension into the universe, into the mysterious universe where the stars are. He's just hopping along, and Sirius, the dog star, is right there that he passes by. Mario rolls on a soccer ball all the way to the fridge to get the milk. And here, you know, the soccer ball, the way the colors and the patterns look with the hexagrams, it's got secret occult imagery to it. Now, a lot of people don't realize that or notice that about the soccer ball, but it's designed in a certain way. It's secretly got occultic stuff on it. He who joins the hexagram and pentagram has solved half of the sacred secret. You know, of all the things Mario can roll on to get to the fridge, it's not a basketball, it's not a tennis ball, whatever. It's gotta be a soccer ball. Because of the symbolic stuff going on and the images they put on a soccer ball. And there's secret occult stuff everywhere, even on the simplest of things, especially in sports. Now I'm actually going to show you guys some gameplay of me playing Super Mario 64, and we're going to take ourselves into the wet dry world level and explore the castle, so I can explain and show you guys some other things I've noticed. So I'm going to show you guys what I mean. Okay, so wet dry world is as soon as you go enter the third floor of the whole castle, the first thing you see when you open up this door is this level. It's significant. It wants you to see this level first as soon as you open this door onto this floor. Now, there's duality here because you see this painting, right? And that's on the right and left side of the painting. Then you got the two pillars in between it all. The two pillars, the two... So you got duality twice. We all know that this light is what you do when you look up from the sundial on the main floor. Whatever occult meaning that all that's about. Yeah, so another thing I noticed about this floor that other people noticed on YouTube is this sign over here. It's the only sign in this hall. You go to it. Shush, please walk quietly in the hallway. Now, I always thought this was a joke when I was a kid, but what does this really mean? Of all the halls in the whole castle, the hallway that has the level wet dry world is the one that has that written for it. Kind of strange. Yeah, so those are just the kind of things I noticed. So let me show you what I mean when we go into the level. Now, of course, we all know when you jump into it in a certain way, the water rises. Okay, so now we're going to enter into the level. I mean, this part of the level. Of course, you see the brain following into the brain here. And we're just going to go exploring. The cages and everything. It's almost like a water pipeline Mario's entering there. But the symbology of the brain is all here too. So, alright, here we are. All 8 of the coins represent the 8 boos in the courtyard. And this is the star statue you see in the courtyard. And the water Mario's in, that is the same level of deepness the water is in that little water that surrounds the statue in the backyard in the castle courtyard. The water surrounds the statue. These walls over here represent the walls that Mario can't jump over, that are on both sides of the statue, just like in the courtyard. And if you try to leave the courtyard in Mario 64, you can't. It blocks you. But you assume that behind those walls are other buildings, other cities or things like that. And so you always wanted to know what they were. And well, this is what is behind the walls of the courtyard, other houses that you cannot see. These are what they are. So this completely represents the courtyard, and it's like a miniature version of the courtyard, and those are the other houses outside of the courtyard, behind the giant wall that you can't get over. Now behind me, of course, is Peach's castle. I mean, you can see how the shape, the way you enter the castle, is just like the same shape here. This is a miniature version of Peach's castle. The tower. Yep, that's Peach's castle, alright. Now remember how you swim in that brain all the way to the city? You take that long path. Well, this hallway right here, the way you go down it and run down it, it does look like, or it resembles that. You're just running instead of swimming, and you reach all the way down there. So this is like you're almost taking the same pattern to reach that underground city that you do to reach the courtyard. This is supposed to represent the same thing as the path you took. In the courtyard, you will find 9 boos and they all have coins in them, representing the 9 coins you see that surround the statue. The only difference is that this now has a star, but it represents that statue. This is the water, the trees, the 2 trees you see in the town down there. They represent the trees. I'm not counting the Big Boo as one of the 9 ghosts. So you see the ghost right here. That is one of the ghosts that represent one of the dead victims of the town of Wet Dry World. Now the fact that the Haunted Mansion level can be found in the courtyard is also another connection to Peach's Castle, since it's a level you find outside of the castle, and the fact that the mansion in this level, basically what I'm trying to say is the courtyard, Wet Dry World, and Peach's Castle are all tied together in like a kind of like a cryptic storyline. As you enter the castle, it does resemble Peach's Castle. You got the pillars on both sides. It's a little different, but it looks a lot like it's the same thing. So this level, Big Boo's Haunt, it represents Peach's Castle in the way Peach's Castle actually looks. I think. Or and like Mario is like, the way Mario sees the castle is from a different time period. Or this is Peach's Castle, and this is how the Boos view Peach's Castle from their perspective. I want to mention this about these doors that you see. No one ever talks about this as well. If you look at every single door in this level, in the mansion, they look like faces. You can see that. You see the eyes? You got the eye over here. Down there is the mouth. So it's extra creepy. Something else that's very creepy that you never noticed before. There you go. All the doors are look like the cover of the book of the Necronomicon or something. Also, I thought I should mention this, that I think that this level inspired Luigi's Mansion. And even Mario 64 in general is pretty much an early version of Luigi's Mansion, because this game is subtly creepy. And when they made Luigi's Mansion, they just decided to up the ante on that. It's like this game is secretly creepy, just like the Freemasons themselves. So you gotta do a little bit of homework. Whereas Luigi's Mansion is obviously it's meant to appear creepy. This sign over here mentions that if you can get out of here, you deserve a ghoul medal. A lot of people talked about and speculated that that's actually in the game, but that's not really in the game. In the basement of the Haunted Mansion, you will find all the water. The water down here represents the flood of Wet Dry World. It's more symbology. You can count up the ghosts and theorize on that. So basically the water being there is representation of their death, of how they died, and how it still stays with them and all that. I mean, it's almost like this mansion kind of represents the towns being flooded, you know? It's just like when your house gets flooded. When your house gets flooded, it starts in the basement and it rises to the top. Now, the path in which you take to get to the basement with the water, you enter this room. Now, this kind of looks like the way you enter the courtyard, with the structure of the walls. Also, it sort of maybe it represents the path you also take to get to the underground city of Wet Dry World. You know, you'll find spiders wandering outside of the castle. They're different than the spiders in Wet Dry World, but what do they represent? Do they represent the spiders that are also in Wet Dry World? Another connection between this level, Wet Dry World, and the castle? They got the flames of hell on them, because this kind of represents hell or something like that. We all know that level in the basement represents hell, right? But if you would say that this level doesn't represent hell, you got these like demonic fireballs right outside the castle. You know, what does that make you think of? Hell, you know? It's like all those people died and went to hell, and this is where they live, in a cage outside of the castle, which was the courtyard, which was where the city of Wet Dry World was. And check this out. Doesn't the structure of this building right here look like the buildings that are the buildings that are also in the town of Wet Dry World? It looks similar to me. You read the sign in front of the building, it says, "Running around in circles makes some bad guys roll their eyes." The fact that you go into the basement and it's got the carousel with the creepy music, the fact that it keeps turning and turning and turning, and there's pictures of the booze and everything, does that represent when you go to hell, you're there for all eternity? Driving you crazy, you're just there forever and ever and ever? Now, I could be wrong, but I was counting the amount of ghosts that are in this mansion. There you got the Illuminati eye, right? And I was counting all the ghosts that are in this mansion, and I believe that, I could be wrong, but I believe that there's about 8 or 9 ghosts that are in this mansion, counting him. So it's roughly the same amount of ghosts that you find in the courtyard, and the same amount of coins that you find that circle the statue in Wet Dry World. So I think we might have a match. Now, remember how you go into the basement of the castle, and in order to make the water go down, you have to knock down the 2 pillars right here. People have mentioned how these 2 pillars represent Jacob and Boaz from Freemasonry. Gotta knock them both down. And the Freemason hint is a decree that one shall pound the pillars. Stating phrases like "it is decreed" sounds very cult-like. It sounds like a belief instead of just a task. The fact that you knock down, you basically hit something that activates a switch to bring the water down, is just like how you activate a switch that brings the water down in Wet Dry World. So by the way, before we end the video, guys, I just want to show you a little secret that I've seen no one do on YouTube. You stand right here in the middle of the sundial, and you zoom in. Now if you just slightly tap the joystick, tilt it down slightly, Mario does all this, the whole room spins. How cool is that? Now watch what else I can do. Look at that. Alright, yeah. So, let me know what you guys think, and I'll do some more if you want me to. Thanks for watching.